Greetings everyone, here's Lodrik, and this is the Game 1 The Pacific Admits Edition. This is my PBEM match against AsuRob. He's Allied Commander, and for me it's the Empire of Japan, now 21st of April 42. Not too much action the last days, but this can always change very fast. I guess this was my cruiser. I arrived just in the port, will stand down, and I wait for the destroyer to reach also the port if it's possible, and then I can bring both crippled ships to the shipyard of Surabaya. At least no Navy clash. Oh, some flying tigers striking against Diamond Harbor, and I have some Oscars defending, and 1-to-1 kill ratio is fine for me. I can even save my pilot. I'm retreating troops out of Tenerife. Simply have no choice to really do anything. I must accept this kind of airstrikes now. Hurricanes, 2 A's, so there's still some British fighters left. I still can fight here, but of course the kill ratio is maybe not the best. But I have unlimited production capacity now. If I really want 100 Oscars, 200 Oscars. But I'm not so sure if I really need to produce this airframe much longer. Oh, yeah, still everyone is holding back. Everyone is preparing for the next big strike. And here's a Dutch submarine at Truk and missing the target. Can happen. And I try now to take here the last Dutch port city. I was here once before, but my units was a little weak and low on supplies, so I simply ship them back to Surabaya, rest and refit them. The last Burma units holding or trying to escape, but not fast enough. And here's my shock attack for Calcutta. So I cross the river because there's a river. For some reason, you cannot see it here, but there's a river. So let's see. There's a full British division. It's 1-to-1. And I can destroy the enemy fort level. Casualties are still high for me, but most important is that I was able to cross the river. My shock attack don't failed, and I can reduce the fort to at least level 2, because this must be normally a fort level 4. I'm not sure if the calculation is correct here, but if you make a successful shock attack, you normally reduce the fort level by 2. And 1-to-1 is a successful shock attack. I lose here, maybe not really destroyed, but 600 AV is off the table now, but let's say 500 less, so I have 2000, the others have 500, so I still have 4 times more attack value. But this is heavy urban, so it's 4-to-1, so it's enough, but let's say I don't have easy time. Easy time is here more with the Chinese retreating. I will only go one more hex. I will not enter Aichang. Makes no sense. I don't need Aichang. There's no industry. But this all these block forces now are now really weak. I'm also able now to build the second line divisions in China, so they're often out of 2 regiments building now a new division. They don't have the heavy equipment and only often 2 regiments, so they're weaker, but they're still strong enough to fight with the Chinese. So I can use a first class division somewhere else. Or I can use the first class divisions mostly at the front line to push the main line back, and the second class divisions are fighting in the rear to handle this kind of left behind Chinese units. Good, air war today not so in my favor, so today 7 Oscars getting destroyed, but I still downed 4 enemy fighters, and I have a lot of wounded pilot, but only 1 killed, so it's okay. No sinking sound, no ships lost. China again behind the line, so everything's easy. Here I reference a hex, so tomorrow I can attack. Victory. Everywhere is a victory. Most important, what was not a disaster, but could be better, could be worse. I crossed the river is here, and that is fine. The submarines are in position to try to block all incoming ships or outgoing ships out of Ceylon. My cruiser arrived already, so that is fine. And damage is a lot of damage, but this is only empty shells, but there's a lot of major and flooding and engine damage, so still it survives the torpedo strike, and I'm back in port. I think the cruiser is now safe. The destroyer is still, I don't know. It's possible because I have a very low system damage, so it's possible. I need only 4 more days to reach the port. And of course, no enemy task force is suddenly approaching out of this dust or mist and sinking this destroyer or submarine, something like this. That would be typical. So there's a lot of ships going in or out of Nomaya and preparing for something new. And everything else is fine. There's a Dutch submarine attacking here my convoys and have at least 1 escort is the total minimum. I mean, this is of course never enough, but have 1 escort at least, always force the submarine to make it underwater attack. Good, and the rest is fine, I would say. I can also maybe talk a little about, because last time I think I talked about the Navy pilots, but there's also in this, because this is a mod game and there's slight modifications to some airframes. You can see that it produces the M4, the land-based 0, and the carrier-based 0, M5. I have also the Oscars, but I don't really produce them more because I have still enough pool. I will not really push for the Oscar much more. I let this kind of airframe die out. I don't invest anything here. I have already the Helen 2A, with the armor protection. But the production is still too low. I have only 10 aircraft, so I need 100 aircraft maybe in pool that I really upgrade this aircraft for frontline units. And I don't really use my army air force to bombard the enemy troops because I don't have the supplies to feed them. So it's like this. But R&D wise, you can see I go for G, and this is the next level, MB5 or 5B. The new type, torpedo type, the new dive bomber type. This is like in scenario 1, this is all the same. Here in the game you have also this G3M4. That is more or less an upgrade for the M3. It's only that you can use the M3 also for sub hunting. In the normal scenario 1 game, it's not really a well suitable aircraft for sub hunting, but this is a multi-purpose Nell bomber for torpedo bombing, land aircraft, ground attacks, and also sub hunting. I go here very heavily on Tojo. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and tools are running for Tojo. I also have here the Nick D. It's a special one. And only in this game it really makes sense for the going for the Tony. In scenario 1 or scenario 2, forget it, don't go for Tony. Make no sense. For some reason the game was treating this airframe shitty, but in the mod I think it's much more realistic. Of course the key 61 is nothing to use, but you can get out of this key 61 the key 100, and the key 100 is really a solid airframe. It's maybe not so good like the key 84, but it is something acceptable for 43. And I can maybe show this here. Your typical, in this mod, the Oscar is the same, no change. The key 44, the Tojo is the same, there's no difference. So there's no improvement, it's exactly the same. And the Nick is normally, for some reasons, the Nick A is the best out of Nick. It's okay, but it's a bomber killer, it's not a dogfighter, that for sure. And if the BC is the same like in the scenario 1, don't really build them, I think they are useless. Then you can see that the D and the E are night fighters. This is new. So you have this is a night fighter edition, and you have this center mounted 37mm cannon to down B-17s and bomber. It's very hard to hit anything with this, but it's possible. And you have the 20mm cannons for up, so underbelly attack. This is all fine, but the point is it's a night fighter, so you get not this night fighter debuff if you run this air wings. I'm really not more sure, but I think you can also run them for fighter bomber, so you can use them for navy attacks or ground attacks if you really want this. And the range is acceptable. Most important is I like this airframe because it's protected. It have guns can do something. Let's say this. And they're official night fighters, so you can equip your night fighter wings with this type of airframe early on. But this airframe have no radar. So, but that is the next level. The problem is with aircraft, you can push the aircraft, but you cannot push the equipment. The equipment will, and the Japanese first get in summer of 44 airborne radar. So even if you have the best airframe with the best technology of radar, you will never get this radar before summer of 44. So I really don't care too much of the radar technology in this. I want an official night fighter to not have the debuff, and I want to have a speed is catching up with the B-17, and this because you normally need a fighter is faster than a B-17, or you have only one attack run on the B of the bomber, because you attack from the front and then you have one run, you turn around, and if your bomber is faster than your night fighter, you can never catch the bomber more. Anyway, and it's also surface ranking only 2, so you can repair damage relatively easy. And the E is more or less the same aircraft. It's only then you get the radar, but the radar is first on June 44. Then you would upgrade this. But the problem is, at the end, this is an upgrade but also a downgrade, because you don't have more the 250 kilogram bombs. I don't know why, but more or less, I mean, I understand it. You add the radar is load. And because you have now a radar, you cannot carry more heavy bombs. Good. Only so much for this equipment. And why I can go now for the Tony is because the Tony, but not the real Tony, I miss it, the key 100. I think somehow the key 100 is here. So you have the key 100 and the key 102. The key 102 is a high level fighter or high altitude fighter. You can see that over 31,000 here is 18 to 19 or 18 to 9, and this is 18 to 13. So if the enemy is really flying over in higher than 31, this aircraft is better. But for everything else, the standard 100 is better. In flying in 32,000 altitude, it's I think really only for B-17s in Star Fortress or something like this. So I'm not so sure if you really need the 2. I think the 100 normal is okay. You have good speed, so the mod increases speed. The maneuver values are maybe similar, but because you have now the higher speed, and I think this is acceptable fast enough, what you really need to stay in 43 to at least on par with the allied fighters. You have protection, you have very good 20mm cannons and heavy machine guns, so you can get down any craft. You can use this also like a fighter bomber. This is really important for me, that you have the flexibility, because you can always attack everything, any ground attacks, ships or whatever you want. But maneuver values around 21, 18 is okay with this speed. You can compare this always with the Tojo, because the Tojo would be the other option. And if you compare this, it's slower. It have a little more maneuver values on the lower end, but not so good in the high end. And it have only heavy machine guns and cannot carry the heavy bombs. And shorter range, this is important. Durability of 28. And the key 100 is 30. So they have also more hit points. So it is better than the Tojo. It's not much better than the Tojo, but I would say now it is better than the Tojo. In scenario 1, the Tony is weaker than the Tojo, then it makes no sense more. And of course, at the end, everyone will go for the Frank, because you get here more speed, similar durability, similar weapon layout, and maneuver values are also similar. So at the end, this is simply the next step. So in 44, you need latest Frank. And of course, you will at the end normally go for the Air Edition. A little more speed. The B Edition. Whatever you like more, but I think Air is normally standard. There is also no. I think for the army there's no other real option. So you go at the end always for the Frank. Yeah, some special high altitude fighters, but not this one. I don't know where it is. I think here. Yeah, that is but this is the same in scenario 1. Nothing else. And this guy can really only fight at least 31,000. To fly him lower than 31,000 is the same like with P-38. Make no sense. You must fly high, because if you fly low, the speed is nice, but you don't have the maneuver value. So you have one attack run. If you don't kill the enemy aircraft in the first attack run, what is possible, you have a problem. And of course, service rating of 3 is for Japan maybe not easy to handle. Good. And see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.